I haven't been outside the US since I was 7 years old. Back then, you could catch a ferry from Washington State to Canada, and all you needed was your birth certificate. A lot of time has passed since then, things have changed, and I finally got a passport. My family and I were lucky enough to take a trip to Costa Rica, and I wanted to talk about what it was like as an American visiting for the first time. First of all, Costa Rica is a beautiful country. It kind of reminded me of Hawaii, if you've ever been there. It's hot, it's humid, most of the roads have one lane going each way, the roads are windy in some areas, and it rains. Like, a lot, dude. We're in the rainforest. This is my vlog. The beaches here are absolutely beautiful. My favorites are Playa Hermosa for the sunsets that make the sky and the water so full of color, it's like looking at an oil painting. And Playa Conchal. The water was warm, calm, and the sand was full of shells. And let me tell you something. They do not play when it comes to shells around here. In Costa Rica, it's illegal to take shells from the beach. At the airport security, we saw a bin full of them. Like, it's serious business out here. I honestly wish we had something like that back home in the US. Maybe our beaches would be so much nicer. Also, honorable mention to the natural hot springs here. They're awesome. We found one for free, low-key, one of the best parts of the trip. Another thing I noticed is that Costa Rica is more environmentally conscious. We stayed at a couple different places in the country, and each one had a note that reminded us to turn off the air conditioning when we weren't using it to save energy. There were recycling bins for paper and plastic everywhere, and some places even turn off the water at a certain time to ration until it rains again. And all of this not only benefits the country's flora, but the fauna too. If you're paying close enough attention, you might see some animals hanging out, doing their thing. Like this coati, minding its business, living its life, being cute. We were warned that the raccoons here are, quote, gangsters and will steal food if you leave it outside. The monkeys are just chilling.
It's getting up. Oh my god, it moved.
Oh my god, he's thirsty. Later, it looked us dead in the eyes while it pooped. I didn't record that, but trust me when I say, I didn't know iguana poops could be that big. Like, what do you eat? And you know I gotta talk about the food too. We ate at a lot of places. If you find yourself in the Guanacaste province of Costa Rica, here's where to eat. Support local businesses. In Huacas, we went to a sushi truck called Origami. We came here 2 times back to back. Their rolls were so good. I had one of the best sandwiches of my life at Johan Bistro while visiting Playa de Coco. And last but not least, Father Rooster. It's right on the beach at Playa Ocotal. There's a gorgeous view while you eat, and I'm gonna be honest, I still think about that chicken tostada bowl every day. In Costa Rica, they don't season their food heavily. They use whole ingredients, it's really fresh. Their desserts aren't overly sweet either. Something weird I discovered was that my lactose intolerance was basically non-existent out here. Usually, drinking milk or having anything dairy makes my stomach bubble like a witch's cauldron on Halloween night. I don't know if they have different cows here or they feed them better here or something, but I was fine. It was crazy. If anything did mess me up, it's the coffee. They serve it black with some sugar and I just can't take the acid. We all have our weaknesses, you know? Also, quick shout out to the money here, which is so much cooler than ours. Their currency is called colones. It's made out of some type of plastic and it comes in different colors. There's also different animals on the back. Each bill is a different size depending on the denomination too, which I think is a really nice touch. I'm assuming it's to help people who are visually impaired, but I'm open to being corrected on that. Either way, super cool. People here were pretty nice, welcoming, and accommodating to us. The official language of Costa Rica is Spanish, and luckily 2 people in my family are fluent, so it wasn't really an issue. I can understand more Spanish than I can speak, but that's not really saying much. It's kind of like playing the game Mad Libs. There's a lot of gaps, but if the sentence is easy enough for me to understand, I can kind of figure it out. It's just that my speaking is like Dora the Explorer level, like stuff like "Vámonos, muy bien," like stuff like that. Although most of the people we spoke to knew English and had learned it in school, I did get to say the occasional gracias, perdón, and my personal favorite, ¿Puedo usar el baño? From my experience, if you don't speak Spanish or don't travel here with someone who does, you're kind of gonna have a hard time in some areas. Even though most of the people we came across spoke English, there's still a language barrier. Whenever I tried to speak Spanish, I had to think about it in English first and then say it, and I'm sure it's the same for them. After talking to some locals, we found that the view of foreigners here is also up for debate. They told us that some Costa Ricans like tourism and all the money and employment opportunities it brings, while others worry that as the country continues to develop, it's losing its identity. There's a bunch of American fast food restaurants moving here that still keep their prices similar to what you would pay in the US. And from what we heard, the gap between what things cost in some areas and what many locals earn can be pretty significant. It was overall an eye-opening experience to leave the US for a bit, to see how other people live and how they get by. All the horror stories we heard of getting your rental car broken into or having stuff stolen didn't happen to us, and we felt safe here. Something that's always bothered me is the saying, America is the greatest country in the world. I feel like in recent years, a lot of people have been looking at that very differently. I know it's a privilege to travel, but how can you know if you've never been anywhere else? I'm really glad I got to have this experience of visiting a different country with my family. We shared a lot of memories together that I know will last a lifetime. Who knows if we'll ever be able to afford a trip like this again, but I came back from this trip with a little more perspective. Some gratitude for the things we have in the US, and some envy for the things we don't. Every country, of course, has its pros and cons, but we as humans are all the same. Whether you sell bracelets to tourists at the beach, or you work at some fancy hotel restaurant, we're all trying to survive, and we're all trying to get home. There's a waterfall in Costa Rica called Llanos de Cortez that I was lucky enough to visit and swim at the base of. And as I stood there, looking up at the top of the waterfall and felt the mist on my skin, I thought about how this place has existed for thousands of years and will continue to exist thousands of years after. Our lives are a speck of dust compared to it. It might not solve all the world's problems, thinking about life in that way, but it makes them feel a little smaller, at least to me. If you haven't visited Costa Rica yet, maybe you should. And to any ticos or ticas watching this, gracias por permitirnos visitar su hermoso país.